So, I'm on Tobin's bricolage. Actually, this is one small step from I'm on Tobin, from the album bricolage. Anyway, we're here. If you don't know, this is the DAC testing area, which is comprised of, most importantly, soft pillows, soft things, soft me, Supermon minis, Orchard monoblocks, Orchard audio monoblocks, and whatever DAC I'm testing at the time. Oh, also the subwoofer, which is just sitting over there. This is the Cayin iDAC8, and it's $1,200. And any $1,200 DAC is pretty much going to get its own dedicated review on this channel. Now, this thing's claim to fame before you change the channel is that it has tubes in it. And there's only one other tube DAC. Actually, there's only one other tube DAC. Technically, there's only one other tube DAC in the house, and it's a Black Ice, and it's a $3,000 CD transport. So it's not a dedicated fair review comparison, but we got to talk about this because it has some features and it has some problems, and I want to warn you of those problems and tell you about the features. So we're sitting here and we're on trans because that means it's using the solid state circuitry essentially for the DAC. It's not using transistors. Trans is transistors in this particular scenario. It's being used as a pre-out. You can set it as a full output. It has, we can go through these sources, optical, USB, II2S, which is a piece of shit because it only works with Cayin stuff. I have the Matrix Audio X SPDIF3 down there, and I've used II2S with a long cable up to DACs in this space before, and it just comes out as static and quiet in one channel. So you can't use II2S unless you're using Cayin's Type A stuff. They actually have it listed in the manual. I had to look it up to see what the hell, why wasn't it working? Because sometimes, like on a topping DAC, you go into the menu and you could change which flag is the thing. It's like one wire that gets swapped, and the topping stuff can accommodate both, and this doesn't. It only accommodates the one style, which is not what I've been using. So forget II2S, ASEBU, coaxial BNC, which is the locking coaxial RCA, which is a normal coaxial RCA. We'll pick this up and put it to the table in a bit. And optical, which is what I'm currently using. Got my playlist, got your wallpaper there. There's a whole setup there from a previous review I just did. We're ignoring that mostly. Volume knob here. So the way that this setup works is whatever signal's coming up, in this case optical, to the DAC. DAC is having XLR outputs go out to that subwoofer. That is the Kali 6.2. And that's like one of my favorite subwoofers. It's got two 6.5 inch, and it fills in this beautiful bubble here. And then from those speakers, from that sub, it goes up to the Orchard audio amplifiers, which are attached to the back of the stands. And then the little jumper cables go up to the Supermon minis. And I sit here and I can tell the difference between DACs. And it's not a matter of clarity and frequency response. It took me forever to figure out what am I supposed to be hearing with this different DAC versus this DAC. And the reason it's not a headphone rig, although I do have a headphone hooked up to the little topping A50S, so I can use headphones here, but it's a depth thing. It's where is the sound? I have one test DAC that is very boring, that if I put it on here and I put it on a volume pot, its sound just comes from a horizontal bar, 2x4. It's making sound from here to here, and that's it. And it's right here. But different DACs, the different things that different DACs do is the sound comes from here, or fucking 6 feet that way. And sometimes I hear sounds from behind me, and I'm like, how you do that, DAC? Because it's the DAC doing that. DAC do that. How? Do that. We don't know. I just psychoacoustics, baby. Yeah, you're hearing just so in the trans setting for this DAC in the DAC testing area, having done maybe half a dozen or more setups, I find that this sounds pretty soft and forgiving. That's right, I'm describing the sound of a fucking DAC, and because it's important that you understand something, because these use an AK, they use like the AKM 91 DAC. It's like one of their higher end chips with some other stuff going on. It's got a toroidal transformer. It's got a lot going on inside of here. The the thing that you're going to play with, and I'd love to have music playing when it did this transition, but no, not that. What the hell is this? I can't read it. It's too see-through. The snake waifu has got. You guys figure it out. Okay, so real quick unit tour. Big knob. Oh, we're going to lean in here. It's going to be real intimate. Hi. Big knob volume. I don't like this pot that it uses because if you go real fast, sometimes it skips and sometimes it goes backwards. It's being pretty good right here, but I've tried to like rock it up fast. Like I just did like half a rotation and did 4 numbers. So it does not like when you go fast. It's a slow moving knob. Slow knob. We press it in and hold it. We get to PCM filter settings and then it's out. All right, let's try this again. Press it in and hold it. Okay, now we're in the PCM filter settings and it's out. You better know what you want to do in this menu because if you want to browse, like maybe you just bought this unit, too fucking bad. So that, or that. Those are the 3 settings. And I'm going to keep cycling around. PCM filter settings, DSD filter settings, not wide or narrow. PCM filter, DSD filter, brightness for the background. Look, dark, middle, and bright. All right, I have it on bright. I had it on middle. It's an OLED screen, so it's probably going to burn it at some point. You get low dispersion, super short, super delay, short delay, slow roll. I don't know. I can never hear differences in filters, even in this area. And you have wide or narrow DSD bandwidth. It doesn't really matter to me because I'm not using any DSD. If I don't have to do much, it's going to go back. Okay, so that's it. That is the entirety of the settings. And I wish there was one that just said II2S flag. You know what else I wish there was in there? Because now we're going to talk about the front. So there's your volume and menu button, right? Big ol' actual analog power button goes ka-clunk. It goes ka-clunk in and ka-clunk out. The top button here is source. This button below it, I'm about to hit. It's going to say trans. It's going to stop saying that. It's going to say preheating. So what it's doing now, it's preheating the tubes to get in the way of the signal path. It's 15 seconds. If you accidentally turn that off and want to turn it back on, it's 15 seconds. Now, it can play music. It does play music while it's preheating, and then it mutes and clicks back over. And so now we're on tube pre-out, 50, 96 kilohertz, because we're using fiber optic, and... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what you can do is, now that it's playing out of the tube, it takes 15 seconds for it to click over. But if I hit that button again, the second button down, it will turn off the tube and we'll be back to a transistor. And you can do that while it's playing music. So you get to directly compare the tube sound to the transistor sound. So... I can't tell you how many times I've switched this from transistor to tube. But if there's a change, it's so microscopic, even the DAC testing fucking area cannot reveal what it's doing. I'm going to hook it up to Valencia. We're going to bring it off to here and bring it to the desk in a second to look at the back and everything. And I want to hook it up to Valencia because I haven't yet. Because I've heard that on a Tube DAC and it's fucking amazing. This is basically a Tube DAC and a pre, but it's not, the tube isn't, I guess the tube is part of the pre and not directly to the DAC, because it would make sense if that part was the tube part. I don't know how it works. So yeah, so now we got power button, source button, tube / trans button, your knob and your thing. But what the fuck is that, Zeos? What is, hold on. You have like, it seems to be a plastic cap glued on over a third button. Anybody here want to guess what that is? Why would Zeos go through such lengths to cover and prevent the pressing of a third button? Here in his DAC testing arena, with his little power amp monoblocks and his $2,000 speakers. Anybody want to guess what button, what magical, special fucking button could possibly be under there? Well, let's go look at it on the table before I kill it. There we go. We got a much better view of the waifu from here. So, moved it here. on top of Valencia. I want to point out something that I'm not sure if this is a problem with this unit, but the rubber feet are very slippery for fucking rubber silicone feet. Don't understand that. I had a cup on here and it actually left a stain. So I'm trying to get that off. That's fun. Because sometimes you put things down on equipment and it's like, this shouldn't stain. No, I've put things on top of equipment before and a little rubbing alcohol takes it completely off. So the fact that something actually may have damaged the top of this, mildly concerning. We're going to get to the thing. First thing we're going to do is turn it on. Because I wanted to show you from a dead off, just moved it. There is a 15-second countdown, even when the tube is not being used on tube. And if we look at the interior photo, hold on, let's wait till this countdown finishes. Any minute now. Great. Of course, we were on optical and I have to switch it to coaxial digital. But if I remember where my mouse has gone, wonderful mouse pad from Padsmith. I don't know what any of this means, but it's hot. It's a hot. That, in ancient Egyptian, is a fan fiction of me and, Emma Watson. Go read that. It's great. $1,200. Not a bad. Comes in black or silver. Okay, not bad. What was I just showing? Wait, what was I? Here, inside picture. So, I think, because this has done a great photo, but I think these four things, these two and these two, are the tubes that are located internally. So, we got a big old power transformer, which looks like it's on this side here. And we got a ribbon going to the front of a line of caps, some insulated items there by the RCAs and XLRs. And I think there's four tubes. So now my question is the reason I don't hear a difference between the tube and the trans because there's tubes in both? Like, it's currently on tube. So if I turn off tube, put it back to trans, and now power it off. If I turn this on, it's still a 15-second count. And it doesn't need to be on because it wasn't set to tube when I turned it off. I mean, it wouldn't know that if you technically unplugged it and it forgot everything. But it's still doing something to get it into a tube mode. Now, I'm not here to complain about the way this thing sounds. I'm hoping those noises are just the wind outside. Otherwise, this is going to become a snuff video. I actually have to set up balanced output into the Topping B200s, which I just finished the review of, and I can turn on, and hopefully we don't have a power outage. Push source, USB, II2S, AAS EBU. Coaxial RCA is what we want, 96. We're going to lower the volume down. You can't go fast. It's annoying. Like, look how much faster it is when I go slow. This is a self-control volume knob, and I hate those. Turn these on to 2. So now the boot carts are now hooked up to this. And then this is hooked up with RCAs. So I'll leave that off until I plug the headphones in. And I'm going to be using the Cosmos for that. But if I put on... Now, I just hooked this up to this setup, so I don't know it intimately enough. But I'm going to take a wild stab since I just moved it like 5 feet forward from one pair of speakers I know and love to another pair of speakers I know and love. No matter if you have this on trans or tube, this is a lovely sounding DAC. That's right. Zeo said a thing. I'm saying this is a lovely sounding DAC, despite the fact that when I do the preheating and we're about to switch from regular solid state to tube, and I'm going to play something... here we go. It just clicked from transistor to tube, and I'm sitting right here, and I've got this wild depth, and I feel this it's engaging in this soundstagey way, and then it flips over to tube, and it sounds exactly the fucking same. That's one of the only disappointing things about this is how it sounds is fan-fucking-tastic. And I was hoping it would be like another level deep when I put it in the tube mode. And it's like, nah, bruh. Nah. Bruh, nah. So now might be freezing rain outside. I'm going to peel off the protective thing, which, you know what? We're going to shut off our amps. We're going to make sure our headphones are unplugged, because there is one feature that is absolutely undescribably garbage. That if this thing was getting like a 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10, and I was going to give it a full recommendation, this will literally reach through my brain and go, no! Fucking no! Because underneath this wad is the line/pre button. What does that do, you ask? Well, you see how we have a volume control here? And it's keeping these amps from maxing out and blowing up the speakers. And it would keep Valencia from maxing out and blowing out a headphone. Whoopsie, it's off. Full power. Oh, no, back to 41. And 100. 41 again. For the fucking love of God and all that is holy, every company on earth, do not ever make that easy. That should be, if you're going to put it on a button and not bury it in the menu where we can go in here and go, oh, short delay, slow roll off, line or pre, that would be great if I fucking did the thing. If it was in that menu that you have to hold down and select and you're consciously, cognitively doing it, fine. A lot of amps, a lot of DACs do that. A lot of topping DACs, a lot of SMSL DACs. What do you want? Fine, buried in the menu. This is too convenient. There is almost no reason to have a push button line pre. Because if you're using it as a pre, there's only one thing you're doing, is you're running a power amp or something else somewhere else that's going to have all this, and you need to preamp it. And having the ability to accidentally set it from no to is... Put this back on now. Because I can't finish the rest of this review unless I disable that button. Do you understand? Unless I take some goo and make a little donut out of it with a nice hard plastic thing, and then I can go and like, okay, hold on, right over this. And we're gonna push it in, nice, firm, tidy it up. Okay, now that button doesn't exist anymore. There was an own, was it the S17? One of the own. I think it was a headphone amp. Or was it a DAC? It might have been a DAC. Either way, it had a button on the front of the unit that could swap. But you had to hold it for like 3 or 4 seconds. And even that wasn't enough. And then the remote control had the instant swap button like that. And so I took a knife and I gouged out the button on the remote control so there's no button to press. That is a fucking killer feature. And by killer, I mean it kills your equipment, it kills your ears, and it kills my recommending this fucking good sounding DAC. You have only only buy this if you know you're going to use it as a full line DAC. Because guess what? If you're using it as a full line DAC and your other volume controls here, and then you accidentally switch it to this as a preamp, oh, the volume got lower. That's funny. Put it back to line out and I use my other volume control. Don't this without this, and I need to make sure that this isn't like going to wiggle and push it down eventually. Okay, you're good? Because otherwise, everything dies. Wow, I was going to plug it into the power button. I should have one special made where it reverses it just to freak people out. So now, volume down, slowly turn it down, power up Valencia, these are off. NERD, things are getting better. Put on the Cosmos. We're on the tube out. And we need to be roughly around, like 50 is jamming. If you don't know about Valencia, by the way, I'll give quick promotions in the middle of all my videos regardless. It's a headphone power amp. So just like these are a power amp, this is a power amp. This has no volume control. You motherfucking need it to have a volume control externally. So that would bring it up 50 arbitrary units of volume. And I guarantee you, unless you're running a very, very special edition of tungsten, most headphones won't be able to handle that. And I guarantee you most speakers wouldn't be able to handle 200 watts directly in them when you're not expecting it. So stop it, Cayin. That button should be a literal 10-second hold. You should hold it, and it should be like countdown 5, caution 4, caution 3, caution 2, caution 1, caution, 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 click. And if you blow it up then because something landed on your desk, even then I would still be upset. Because it isn't like hold 2 buttons down. Because something could just lean against that bottom button. No, you put your school textbooks down and they slid into it and they pressed it and then you died. How'd he die? He died from Cayin putting the worst button. They needed 3 buttons. Figure out another fucking thing to put in that button. Anything else. Or just make a hole. I'd rather have it be an empty hole than that fucking button. So. Sound assessments. Despite my yelling and screaming, despite me not hearing a difference between tube and trans when I switch the 2 of them, this is a DAC that actually has a sound signature. Every DAC is a little device that converts a digital signal into a small bit of voltage that is a waveform, whether it's balanced in 4 volt or RCA in 2 volt. They're all doing that. The thing is, the chip is producing like hundreds of a watt. So you still need to get some sort of amplifier in there to make it go from the chip to the 2 volts or the 4 volts. And that amplifier could be a Class A amplifier, a Class D amplifier, a fucking tube Class A amplifier. And this sounds like that. This sounds like it's doing that small little job before the other amps that are involved. Because you're using it as a DAC. There's no headphone out in the plot. You are pushing this to something else. And I now have a thing that is a something else. And I could assess tonight that this sounds fucking lovely. Why do you think it's been sitting in my speaker test, my DAC testing area for like a month and a half? You don't know that because you don't live here. But for a fucking 6 weeks, I've had this hooked up to those speakers right there with a little amp on top for Eris to plug into. And I blocked off the button so my worries were over. And I've just been enjoying it. The fact you can't hear the difference between the DAC mode, between the tube mode and the trans mode is irrelevant. Why? Who cares? It sounds like it's a fucking tube mode all the goddamn time. It sounds amazing and soft and smooth and extra wide. And that includes on speakers. And the depth perception of the sound presenting is absolutely phenomenal. It could almost be... See, I can't give it the Cayin... not the Cayin fucking thing. My favorite DAC. The Cayin 3. I'm sorry. Cayin 2? Cayin 2. Holo Cayin 2. Yes. You got Cayins and Cayins. It's all fucked up in my brain right now. So that was another $1,200-$1,300 DAC. That was a solid state DAC that had no buttons, not even an on-off. So I don't have to worry about it ever being a line out or a pre-out because it was a line out. And it was all that blatant simplicity that made it work so well. Cat screaming. The power came back on. You relax. I don't think I would fight these 2 DACs against each other directly. They feel like they're different corners. One of them is a boxing champion and the other one's doing jiu-jitsu. Like, they're both amazing fighters, but they have very different styles, and this is not Street Fighter. Although it would be awesome if it was Street Fighter, Audio Street Fighter. In fact, I'm going to sponsor Audio Street Fighter. This does more damage to the sound than the Cayin 2. Cayin. I'm literally blanking. Cayin. It's Cyan. That said, you're buying a tube-based fucking DAC because you want that. Me saying this damages the sound more is a plus. It means it's not another topping DAC. It's not another, run-of-the-mill SMSL DAC. It's not even aiming for that cleanliness of that goddamn holo. This is its own thing. Cayin does amazing tube amps. And so them putting tubes in a DAC is like, well, fucking duh, that's going to be great. My upset problem is I can't hear the difference between when I go from... Now, hold on, I'm going to listen to the vocals in this. This, by the way, is Carolyn Tuesday, The Loneliest Girl. It's about the same creator of Cowboy Bebop, so they use Woolongs, and it's just an amazing story. Well, wait. I might have heard a slight difference in the way her vocals moved. She might have moved back a little bit, but only the vocals, not the staging. The staging hasn't changed. Keep in mind, we are using Valencia, so if you're going to test this with headphones, this is a good way to go. All right. You ready for the difference between tube and trans? I've heard it, at least. You have 8% more upper mid-range and treble in trans versus tube, which is not a fucking lot. I also just heard, just now, like the alien, like, in my headphones. And I know it ain't Valencia, which means it's you. Which means you just did a thing with tubes and noise. And it's like, I want to give this a full fucking recommendation. Even if I'm not hearing the tube difference, I want you to try. I want them to put a firmware update in this, which, we have to look at the back of it also. So which means I have to off that, out these, take them off my head. We're going to power you down. What a chunkalunka. I'm going to unplug the power cord because these are those $30, $50 heavy duty Amazon ones that are filled with piss and vinegar. Can I get this up here without destroying anything? So we're going to do the upside down stare. It's real easy. It says made in China with a really shitty piece of paper. They do that so you could peel it off and go, prove it. Heat sinks on the side, power here. Here's your BNC coaxial in. I'm using the RCA coaxial in. There's your optical. USB, your II2S, which they fucked up because it's only for their stuff. The AES EBU, your RCA outs and your XLR outs. A couple vents back here. That's it. I think the bottom has, we can actually see in here. So there's, oh wait, I could see the tubes. My God. That means I could pull the bottom of this off and we could see what tubes are lit up when it's actually just running. Well, actually, can I see the tubes right now? What's running? Because I'm in, well, it's off. You know what? I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to go get a screwdriver and we're going to void the warranty on this. Give me a sec. All right. So, Milwaukee fuel, linked in the description. So, oddly enough, there's 6 screws and one of them had a lock washer on it, like an actual rigid or like a spiky lock washer. Only one, this one. None of the other ones had that. So quality control passed, but I don't know. They're doing their own thing as far as that goes. This is my first time taking this off. Are you excited? So, okay, we have got those wrapped in felt, I guess for heat insulation, and then inside metal cages. So there are 4 tubes. You got your MOSFETs here. You've got your power supply there. Big old fucker there. A bunch of caps. Things and stuff. And, oh, I could actually desolder the fucking button in the front. That would be a fun little thing. Yeah, I just desoldered it. Now you can't. Well, how do you set it to a pre? You don't. Fuck off. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to have to get another power cord because there's no way that one's going to make it over here. Burb. Actually, I could just, I don't need Valence. No, I gotta get a power. I'll be right back. Cool. All right. Through the magic of shutting the camera off and starting it again, we now have access to a power cord. So this thing is upside down. Power is that way. Power button is out. We're going to give this the 15 seconds. I'm going to turn off my added, like, I'm reviewing things on a desk in this space where there's no fucking light. And let's... Interesting. So let's see what we're on. We're on trans. So we're on transistor. And I'm seeing reflections in the metal. I don't know if you guys can see them. Both of those tubes are lit up. And I think both of these tubes, one might be hiding its glow. Yep, they're all lit up. So, I have a question then. If there are 4 tubes, and I can physically see the 4 tubes. They're right there. If there are 4 tubes, and all 4 are lit up, and then I hit the tube button, which turns on the 15-second countdown timer. I'm going to try to get it so my shadow blocks it and I can see the glow. Okay, so now the tubes aren't getting any brighter. Maybe this is a faulty unit. No, it's just, nothing changed. Like the brightness of the tube glow, I don't think got brighter. I mean, I could see it a little better from here. Here, let's see if I turn that off. Back to trans. Nope. Tubes are still glowing away. So, all 4 tubes come on with the unit, and then all 4 tubes stay on when you have it in trans or tube mode. And the change is so slight that I can barely tell it's actually making it, but it seems to be making it. I don't... Why are we waiting 15 seconds for a transition if it's literally just like, all right, we're good to go? Unless there was a thing they did and they changed it, like it used to have a tube sitting off and they realized, fuck that, just run it. Because these probably aren't going to be using a lot of power. Like, tube amps do have a limited lifespan. There's like 3,000 hours on a tube, and then the tube is just, it's broken, it's worn out, it's fucked. But a preamp tube is much lower voltage, less heat. Although being locked in a little reflective oven probably isn't helping. But this is just going to run all the time. And these are... I don't believe changeable tubes. I believe those are soldered to the board. I don't see any sockets underneath them. So yeah, this is it. This is a lot of stuff. There's your AKM. Look at the AKM DAC board, which by the way is only held in with 2 out of 4 screws because the other 2 things are over other parts. Science, I guess, or something. I feel like I would want all 4 things screwed down to hold in my AKM shit, but whatever. Whatevs, dog. It's Cayin. It's a really well-built unit. It has its quirks, but man, does it have its sound. That is always the case with Cayin stuff, is even if it isn't fitting like fully the lifestyle I want. I want this to have a remote control. It doesn't have a remote control. I don't think this has a remote control. You know what? Let me just double check, because I feel like it should. I feel like let me get onto like one of these pages where you can buy it. Is there a picture of a remote control? Because I haven't found one. Nope. Single-ended balance tube timber. Wait a second. Hold on. I've never seen this photo before. Single-ended 1 per channel. First stage of the timber consists of 2 triodes. Operates in parallel. Enhances the current drive in the MOSFET series, and then you turn on cathode followers from current voltage. What? Balanced solid state. It's showing you the different locations on the thing. So it's showing 4 fucking tubes, and 2 of them are for single-ended and 2 of them are for balanced, but they're always on. I don't get it. Where is that? Where is that? That should be here. It's literally different from the diagram. It doesn't, whatever they're showing you there doesn't exist. So this is different. Bypassing. Yeah, pre-out versus pull-out. I should have gone through every fucking thing. Yeah, it's the AKM 4191 plus dual AK4499EX DAC circuit. They've got the bones. They've got a very... Holy Jesus shit. If you buy this thing, please find this. It's on Music Tech. And print out the function diagram. This is just for the left channel only. Oh my God. That whole thing just shows for the left channel. Well, meanwhile, it says right channel here. I'm very confused. Holy crap. Look, I'm Zeos. For the longest time, I said DACs don't matter. The fact that I can actually get into a DAC and it's got so much weird shit going on, and I can tell you I hear a difference, even if it's just slight, between when you put it in tube mode versus transistor mode, and I can hear that on speakers and on headphones, granted through Valencia, but it's a worthwhile investment to get a good DAC. Whether that DAC is just clean, balls to the wall Cyan 2, or if you want to try something fucking new, here's your fucking new. All right? This is the thing that'll get you out of the boring DACs. And like Fosse has done some DACs that just have op-amp swappable. Fucking Gishelli Labs has got a socketed DAC. And you put crazy Sparkos op-amps in there. And it's like, or Burson op-amps, and it's like, oh my God, this DAC sounds different. So now there's another thing in your chain that is adding a uniqueness to the sound. We are humans. We do not want the most level, perfect Harman curve. That's just not us, dog. By the way, is this camera pointing to the left? Because I can't quite judge it between my eyes. It's okay to fuck up the signal at every point. Say it with me, boys and girls. You could have the room not be perfectly like Golden Sound. I was in his fucking thing when he went absolutely ham with the sound dampening and the panels, and it was too much. There was no room left. It was like an anechoic chamber, and that is not where I'm going to enjoy music, and that's not where most people are going to enjoy music. You need the room to have some reflection points. You need to have carpet on the floor, yes, but you know what? Leave that wall exposed. Keep hard surfaces around so you get reflectivity instead of absorption. Fuck up the room a little bit. Make sure your speakers, although those speakers are the cleanest speakers I've ever heard, but those can add a flavor too. The DAC can add a flavor. The amps can add a flavor. It's okay to add flavors, or else you have a very boring fucking listening position. And you don't think your music is being mixed on the other side of it with a little bit of flavor in there? So it's all about either counteracting the flavors of your music or adding the flavors of yourself. So like this, I would probably run. I'm gonna go back to. I'm gonna shut it the fuck off and unplug it so I don't get electrocuted. That's step one. Step two is I'm gonna put this back on. I'm gonna hook it back up to Valencia, since this is the first time these two have played together. And I'm going to give it a goddamn run for its money. Because as long as that button fucks off, I'm recommending this DAC. Just for the amount of componentry inside of it. And how well it's put together and laid out. Cayin doesn't fuck around. And neither do I. Which is why I ask you to support this channel on Patreon and Subscribestar. Because I want to fuck around. It's actually the opposite. I want you to help support me, because I have only your support and collabs and occasional affiliate links, and then I get sponsored to go to trips. But honestly, Patreon and Subscribestar, please, God. It's now it's $7 a month because inflation. $7 a month lets you see reviews early, participate in yard sales, get to lossless sound demos, and maybe a Q&A. And then the 10, which is soon to be $15 a month, is the get behind the scenes private Telegram chat where they know I have this. They know I've done all these testing with it. They know everything. In fact, they're going to know as soon as this review is over. I'm going to take the thumbnail picture, which will probably be inside of this because it looks awesome. And then it's going to be like, hey guys, in the patronage chat, do you like this? What do you think? I think this about this. So you'll get to know the minute I know about a thing, you know about a thing. Who do you think did all the pre-orders for fucking Valencia? It was patrons in the $10 chat because they're on my phone and it's easy. Yeah, support that. I also get, if you're in the $15 chat, you get into a lifetime swap meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear. So if you do have a DAC that you're kind of bored with, but you paid good money for it, and you're okay with losing like 15, 20%, you throw it on the swap meet, someone buys it, there's no fees involved unless you do the PayPal thing. Do it. Anyway, I'm done, you're done, Snake Girl's done. Best Snake. I'll see you all in the next DAC review, which will probably also have like 5,000 views at the end of 6 months because no one cares about DACs, but this has tubes in it. Oh, just a note. Don't be an asshole and use a drill to put the screws back. Do a hand drill for that, or just take the tip off and do this, because you don't need torque or speed. If they're a million miles long and they have to be broken, I use it for out. You do manual in. This is, I'm not an asshole. All right? I've seen Brave Little Toaster about 2,500 too many times.